Thanks for coming, everyone. So as you know, this is our fundraiser for the Animal Justice Party, and for those of you that haven't met Paul, he is going to be running for the Senate in, is it July? 2nd of July. So I'm going to hand over to the man of the moment, and he can introduce himself and also some information about the Animal Justice Party itself.
Good. Thanks, Anya.
Thanks everyone for coming obviously tonight. I just want to say a special thanks to Anya and Mitch as well. Obviously to James for coming along and giving us his time tonight as well. And Nivian and her husband there exciting away in the kitchen. And of course obviously to everyone that's come along tonight and given up their time and funds to come along tonight, which is really important for us. I'll give you a bit of a background. Obviously, most people in here have a little bit of an understanding of the Animal Justice Party. I've probably met many, I think I've met most people in the room as well, but probably you might not know too much about me or much about the Animal Justice Party as well. So I'll go through a little bit of info on that to give you a bit more of an insight and tell you a little bit about my story as well and then hand over to James after that. Okay, so the Animal Justice Party was actually formed in 2010, so it's only fairly new. Founded by Professor Steve Garlick, who runs a rescue sanctuary in New South Wales. Steve's a professor in economics and continues to act as president for the party to this day. Steve is a very gracious and a really great guy. He established the party to give a voice to the animals, who obviously have none and can't speak for themselves, which I think most people here can relate to. We have a 9-person national committee, so the Animal Justice Party is a national party. Obviously we're here in Queensland at the moment, but we do have representatives across all the states and territories, and we will be standing candidates in all those states and territories at the upcoming election. The 9-person committee, which is I'm part of, there are people from a wide variety of backgrounds on the committee as well, whether that be economics or lawyers, IT professionals, musicians, anyone that has an interest in animal welfare, obviously, which applies to everybody. The Animal Justice Party is the first and only party in Australia focused on giving a voice to the animals and providing that in politics, so through law reform, obviously. The Animal Justice Party as well, obviously, was established by Steve to provide a focal point for voters, particularly for those who are frustrated by the lack of political action and concern for animals and the assistance for the well-being of animals displayed by the major parties. Okay, one of the visions of the party is to live on a planet where animals are treated obviously with respect, kindness, compassion and dignity, which I think all of us in the room can relate to. Obviously very strongly aligned to vegan values as well. There was a recent study done that showed that actually 75% of political decisions adversely affect animals, and they currently have no voice to speak out against that. So obviously animal abuse and cruelty is widespread throughout Australia. It affects millions of animals, not just in Australia but across the globe. The vast majority of suffering for these animals is unfortunately still completely legal, although it is unnecessary for human survival. And that's one of the things that we really want to address. How are we going to do that? So the Animal Justice Party will be seeking candidates and seeking election across all the states, as I mentioned. And we'll be looking to bring about change to the way animals are treated as a result of the political decision making. So keeping the animals at the forefront of our minds whenever it comes to legislation and making decisions. As I mentioned, we're running 2 Senate candidates in Queensland, myself and Zaid, who many of you may have met through different vegan meetups as well. And the key focus of the party, particularly in the run-up to this election on the 2nd of July, is not to actually seek government, but to have an influence and a say in the parliament as a voice for the animals. Some of the policy issues that will come up in this election, and obviously what we want to put an end to, are factory farming, the live export of animals, establishing an independent office of animal welfare, and ending animal cruelty once and for all. And we want to do this through law reform. However, the party is not just a single issue party, and we are after a better life for all of us, and that's how our policies will be formed. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about myself as well. I moved up from Melbourne. I've been vegetarian since I was about 14, which is a long time ago now, and been vegan for about 5 years. And I moved up from Melbourne the end of last year. A little bit of a similar background to James in that I was working in the health and fitness industry as well. Just saying Shane before, competed quite successfully in powerlifting, holding a national record, and ended up opening my own gym. Was training a lot of martial artists and coaching them as well, whether it was on nutrition or training. And a lot of them, obviously, doing my bit to spread the vegan message with them as well, which is quite a difficult thing to do, as James would know, in terms of the health and fitness industry, and people talk about protein and all those sorts of things, and animal protein and that sort of thing. But anyway, ended up coaching a lot of world champion athletes in terms of their diet and nutrition leading up to contests and competition. So I thought I was doing my bit. I thought, I was living a vegan lifestyle and doing my bit in terms of spreading the message through athletes and the people that I associated with. Anyway, moved away from that business, moved up to Brisbane late last year. Was embraced by the vegan community and animal welfare groups up here, which was fantastic. I moved up here on my own, and I was really overwhelmed by the support and the compassion and kindness of all the people up here within the vegan community and caring for animals. I was lucky enough to hear James speak last year at the Brisbane Vegan Festival. And James will obviously tell you, a little bit more about that, or if you haven't seen that speech, or even if you were there, James did speak about doing more. So not just being vegetarian, not just being vegan, but educating other people about the way animals are treated, animal cruelty, that they are sentient beings, and they do need to be recognised as such, not just as property. That was actually the instigation for me to get more active and get actively involved in the Animal Justice Party. I was lucky enough to then be able to get elected to the board as National Treasurer, which is where I sit now. And as we've mentioned, we'll be running for a Senate seat for Queensland, coming up in the election on July 2nd. And that really was all thanks to James and listening to him speak on that day. So,
has that ripple effect?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, that's probably a good segue now to introduce James and to hand over to him, so we can all hear from James. And if anyone has any questions or wants to ask me, anything more particular about policy or voting or any of those things, please feel free to come up and speak to me tonight, or get in touch on Facebook. You'll get sick of seeing my face, I think. A few Facebook Live videos that we'll be putting out between now and the election. But honestly, if anyone has a question in terms of what you can do, obviously voting for us on July 2nd is a key step that you can take, but also helping to spread the message, and whether or not that's through social media or through your friends, or if you do have the time to be able to volunteer between now and the election, or even on election day, just in terms of handing out flyers and that sort of thing, we'd obviously really appreciate that as well. Okay, on that note, I'm going to hand over to James. James. Thank you. Over to you.
Alright, I'll stand here then. Alright, well, I didn't know that, man. That's so cool. But now the pressure's on, it's like, must have been a good speech. This one's completely unrehearsed. I just wanted, first of all, to start by saying thank you to each and every one of you for being here tonight. I actually think that it takes a special kind of person or a special kind of quality to want to do something for others, and especially for others who cannot thank you or pay you back in any way. And obviously I'm talking about animals. They'll never be able to thank us. They'll never be able to do anything for us. So I think to want to help them takes a certain special something. And we're all in this room tonight. We all have that. And I just want to acknowledge that. And I'm sure that the animals would not mind at all if I said a sincere and heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you for being here tonight, for them, and for also everything else that you may be doing in order to help those who need it most. Now I should start again as well with a disclaimer. I do not know much about politics. I don't know much. Pretty much, there's a good chance I know less than anyone here. So I just said, can you talk at the Animal Justice Party fundraiser? And I'll say yes to every opportunity when it comes to talking about animals. I'm like, yeah, before you even told me what it was. And then I thought about it later and I thought, oh, Animal Justice Party, politics. I don't know much about that at all. But I do know a fair bit about animals, and I know a lot about the situation that animals are currently in, and there's no positive spin to put on it. The way that animals are currently being treated by humans is worse than your deepest, darkest fear, worse than your worst nightmare. It's worse than any pain or suffering we've likely ever experienced. It is truly horrific that we have waged such a war on our fellow earthlings. And what we do to them every single day for things we don't even need is so far in the wrong direction. On the positive to that, things are starting to change. Now we have someone representing animals at the political level, which is a huge step forward, and it's amazing that that's never been done before, right? So it's positive, things are moving forward. Why does it matter? Why do animals matter? Because we share this earth with them, because their lives do matter, if to no one else but to them. They feel pain, they suffer, they have their own families, their own communities. They communicate with each other, they breathe, they eat, they sleep. They have everything that's important in common with us. And for us to neglect them, and even worse, to abuse them and to torture them and kill them for things we don't even need, something needs to be done. So it needs to be done on every single level. And like I said, I don't know much about politics, but I do know, without a doubt, that animals need a voice at that level. And that's what this is about tonight. No one expects the Animal Justice Party to win the whole thing. Not enough people care about animals currently. Well, it'd be nice. That'd be great. In fact, but that's probably not going to happen. But what we do want, at the very least, is to have a voice in there, representing animals, speaking up on behalf of animals, and trying to do something to improve things for them that are happening right now. Because we can't make all the changes we want to make overnight. I'd like to see a complete end to animal exploitation in every way right now, but that's just not how it's going to happen. So we need to do what we can, what we're capable of doing now. We need to do that, and we need to play the game as best we can and make the best changes we can with the opportunities we've got. This is a huge opportunity, voting for the Animal Justice Party. Because when we have a voice in there representing animals, changes can happen, things can improve, and the suffering can reduce, and this world can be a better place. So that's one thing we can do. And if we don't do it, if we don't vote for them, who's going to vote for them? Because most people aren't concerned at all about animals. Most people are so unconcerned about animals that they'd rather eat an egg on their slice of toast instead of avocado, knowing that animals are being mutilated and killed just to have that snack in the morning. People haven't made this connection yet about how important it is that we respect other life on this planet. So for us who have made that connection and do realize how important it is, the animals need our vote. Yeah, there's a lot of things we could vote for, and we might have a more vested interest in something else, but the animals who are doing it worst, they're at the bottom. They've got nothing. They need all the help they can get. That means they need all the help they can get from those of us who actually understand what's happening, who can do something about it. And this is just one more thing that we can do. So I would urge everyone here to use your vote, to vote for the Animal Justice Party, because if we don't, no one else is going to. So it's on us to do that for them. Secondly, we're not just voting at this election. We vote every single day. We're making a choice. We're voting with our dollars. Are we going to buy the lentils to put in our spaghetti bolognese, or are we going to buy the mince that caused animal cruelty and killed an animal? Are we going to buy the eggs that kill the animals? Are we going to buy the avocado to put on the toast? Are we going to buy the shampoo that was tested on animals? Or are we going to buy the shampoo that wasn't? We're making choices every day. We're voting every single day. There are already so many people that no longer eat animals, wear animal skins, use animals for entertainment or for their products. Those people are called vegans, and all that means is that you don't purchase things or support places that hurt animals. That's all it is, and it's very easy to do. That's a vote we can make every single day. And if you at all care about the lives of others, then that's something we should all be focused on doing in our own life. Something that we as individuals make a difference by doing that. And this is how we make this world a better place. Because when we know better, we can do better. And when we do better, we grow. And when we grow, we can help other people grow and do better as well. And this planet, this world, and what's happening, there's so much negativity, there's so much violence. But this is what we can do to improve ourselves, improve the lives of others, and do our part to leave this world in a better situation than when we got here. So that's it from me. I hope you got something out of that. I hope you do vote for the Animal Justice Party. And thank you all once again for being here on behalf of the animals. Thank you.